I don't know. I've been waiting. I've been waiting. Just imagine the best it could be. It's even better than that.
Yes.
I think you want to come over to Mark Lampert's office right now.
What, is it good?
Where? It's in Mark's room, the sound room.
On my way.
I was born 87 years ago. For 65 years, I've ruled as Tamriel's emperor. But for all these years, I've never been the ruler of my own dreams.
He was selling the product like, a reverend standing in front of his flock, which is exactly the tone I wanted.
I mean, Patrick Stewart.
This is the unedited stuff.
Generals and kings have knelt at my command.
That's such a cheesy line. That sounds good when he says it.
Generals and Kings line? That's what I said every time I heard Make Our Camera sing this shit.
Rises.
It's like all the stuff that sounded so cheesy.
These are the closing days of the Third Era. And the final hours of my life.
I don't know, like, if we could have picked, there isn't another actor we could have picked who I'd be happier to write dialogue for. Like, seriously, like, I geeked out over Star Trek for years. You know, it was on while I was in college. And we literally, all my friends, I would sit around, we'd watch Star Trek and drink beer and act like idiots. I don't have a picture of my wife in my wallet right now, but I've got Patrick Stewart in my wallet. So, there's no better actor as far as I'm concerned. Like, I get to say I wrote dialogue for Patrick Stewart. Yeah, I'm happy.
Got your wallet?
Yeah, I got it. This is not a lie. See, my wife will not be happy, but I have a Patrick Stewart picture in my wallet. Right there.
So you guys know our demo machine melted last night? And the motherboard's dead?
We're never really sure. Could have been a defective motherboard. We could have just been putting too much into it. We weren't overclocking it at all. So I checked out. We're sending it back to the manufacturer, Asus, and they're going to send us a new one.
So right now we have the code changing, we have the data changing, and now our hardware is changing. So the triumvirate of things changing is bad. Better now than next week.
Normally, it'll crash to the Windows desktop, and you just start it back up and play it again. Well, this crashed in such a way that they actually had to completely power off the machine and restart it. This happened several times throughout the day, and finally on that last one, it just didn't come back on.
By the way, the end of the demo is completely different. For those of you who weren't here on Friday, we changed the ending. It's way more dramatic.
Feed me, Lord.
You have to do all the kids'
I think it looks cool when I block them. I mean, I think the end is the best part now. And before, for me, it was, the worst part. And now I think it's the best part. I don't know if that's the newness of it. But it's got good, epic fantasy demon stuff at the end, which I think the kids like. Yeah, the Force stuff for us has always been the kind of rendering-wise the craziest thing that we're trying to do, and the thing that also has the biggest visual impact of the game. People see it, wow, I've never seen that before.
Usually when building a scene like this, I start out by placing the rocks. I sort of look at the lay of the land, which is generated first, and then I try and pick out spots where a rock might naturally occur. I've got this big one here. So, I would just take a big rock like this and plop it down, sink it to an appropriate height, and then I'll go and add like little satellite rocks around it to try and create a feel that there's some natural erosion going on. Came out looking for source textures for some of the surfaces in the game, specifically terrain textures and like pictures of the ground, things like that. It's really tough to find images like that online, for those purposes anyway. With a rock, a lot of the visual impact is going to boil down from the texturing, from the coloration in it, and then using like shader techniques to try and get the shine and sheen and the cragginess to it, like how the lighting splays across it. This color and texture is perfect for some of the textures that we were trying to recreate in the game. I mean, obviously the moss in general is mostly green, but there's lots of other little details here that really help make the textures more believable. You know, there's lots of other little browns in here, lots of little highlights in the green, and just other little random bits of nature. I've always obsessed over natural foliage and just greenery in games in general. For some reason, I think that's really cool. It's just not something that you normally see, and I definitely think it's a fun environment in a game to play in. When you think about all the leaves individually, they're probably pretty close to the same color, but when you see them all in a scene like this, there's so much contrast and play of light. In the foreground here is an example of some of our grass that we have in the game. So we've got some ivy in here and some tall grass. Further on, I think there's some sort of generic forest weed types of plants. They really add a sense of movement and life. Like, it really makes the ground feel much more organic than this flat, textured surface might. There's kind of a quiet solitude about it, where there may be lots of cool and interesting things going on within the game, but you can sort of know that it's in its own little pocket, so to speak. It's kind of isolated from reality around you. It's really nice when they're cluttered with lots of interesting things that fool you for a second into thinking that you're in a real world.
Well, it's Thursday now, Thursday morning, and E3 starts next Wednesday. However, the computers need to be shipped out and they need to arrive there by next Monday. So we basically have until tomorrow afternoon before we basically have to stop work. The machines get packed up and they get shipped off.
We're on schedule. It's taken all late nights, deep into the mornings the last 2 weeks, but looks good, looks good. Okay, I'm a little under the weather, so I'm gonna try to get through this, but if my voice dies, bear with me. We built Oblivion from day one to be a next-generation game for both the PC and the Xbox 360. We've always tried to make our worlds come alive visually, but Oblivion takes this to new levels. Our artists have painstakingly modeled over 9,000 objects. There are 9 main cities in the game and dozens of smaller settlements. Over 1,000 NPCs live in Oblivion, all with their own schedules and jobs.
Good morning!
Oblivion features over 50 hours of recorded dialogue, all lip-synced in real time.
They say the streets run red with blood, and the Daedra will soon overtake the entire city.
The voices fill half of the game's DVD.
Please, come on upstairs with me.
I don't know what kind of titanium alloy packing stuff they've got, but whatever it is, I just hope it can take a push out of a plane at 30,000 feet.
He did it!
Now I just need to make sure that works all day.
If you do not have any red buttons, proceed through the register.
If they don't like it a lot, I'll be really disappointed. It's all about meeting expectations. It could still be like one of the best games there, but if it doesn't meet their expectations.
What time we start?
Oh, right now it's 7:10, and we were supposed to be starting the Microsoft event in 5 minutes, but that's not going to happen. So we're just hanging out, waiting to meet up with some folks, and we go get something to drink, and we'll watch them put our trailer up in front of thousands of people. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. It's an awful lot of work to get to this point. I mean, we haven't seen it on a freaking movie screen, so we have no idea how it's gonna look. Well, we know it looks really good on a 61-inch TV, but on a movie screen. But if it looks as good as we know it can, and if it's and if the response is really awesome, I think it'll probably maybe the greatest professional moment of my life.
So how about this? How about a brand new, full-featured, next-generation role-playing game in the launch window. Morrowind was one of the best-selling role-playing games ever on the Xbox. The sequel to this incredible game is called Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. It promises to feature one of the largest open-ended worlds ever created for a video game. It also includes thousands of characters that are governed by groundbreaking AI. These characters eat, sleep, and complete tasks all around the clock. And they make their own choices based on what's going on in the world around them. Welcome to the world of Oblivion.
Hi, I'm Todd Howard of Bethesda Softworks, and welcome to our presentation of the Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion.
This game looks unbelievable. It actually has trees, unlike Vardenfall.
The whole first level of the game is a prison break, and through your actions, it really determines what kind of character you'll be.
I mean, sometimes I worry that games are going to get so realistic looking that I won't want to play in them because they're too real, and then I might as well just be at home. Only this was a pretty good case for hyper-realism because the forest was gorgeous.
Unbelievable. It's easily the most impressive game that we've seen at E3.
Yeah,
it's like with the radiant AI thing.
Yeah.
That's always one of my big issues with RPGs is the NPC characters are kind of boring. Like they're just there and you talk to them and they're kind of just like this clunky way of getting information. But it's so much more entertaining to watch like somebody flame their dog.
Oh my God, have you seen our booth? It's off the hook.
Fans of the series, they're gonna go nuts. They're gonna love it.
Morrowind changed my life. I don't know about that. Maybe it didn't change my life. I put in a lot of hours. Took away a lot of my hours.
We look back at what people really liked about role-playing in the first place. The setting, the action, the heroism.
When that guy came, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but when the guy came out of that Oblivion portal, that was cool. He was so cool.
They do have a very unique sort of little setup there, doing titles that take a long time, that have a distinct story, and they've really resonated with fans over the years.
I totally love the storyline as it is, and like the way it develops is like just so good.
As you know, if it's an Elder Scrolls game, people are going to go buy it just because.